Hi, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. 7 dating tips for the mature woman. I'm not talking about the young folk because the young folk do things a whole different way. I can't even pretend to know how these millennials work. I mean, they don't even date. They just hang. They just hang out with each other. A lot of them don't even believe in dating. But so I'm talking about the mature woman, whatever age that may be, the mature woman. And we're going to talk about how to pique and keep his interest. Because, like I said before, a lot of times we meet somebody either online or in the world as we go about the world, and we think we hit it off. We think that, we had similar interests and we had a great vibe going, and it just waned. It's like the interest just waned, or he just pulled the disappearing act, or you could tell that he started, pulling away. And a lot of times we're left wondering what happened. And a lot of times we'll never know. And sometimes it's like, good, they moved on because it was a blessing for you. But a lot of times we're left wondering what happened. So I'm going to just share with you some things that you can do to pique his interest and keep his interest. Okay, so number one, I got my little notes, y'all. I ain't even gonna perpetrate like I ain't got no notes because my brain, this is all authentically my stuff, but I can't remember all of this stuff. Okay, so be interested in him and not just your agenda. I'm gonna say that again. Be interested in him and not just your agenda. What does that mean? You need to be engaging with him. Now, we're gonna talk about like over the telephone, computer, text, and all that, and also in person. What I mean by be interested in him, I mentioned this before, but my phone started acting up, so I don't even know if you all could hear the story. I'm going to use my sister Danica as an example, and I don't believe that she mind at all. Danica's 40 years old. She's single, never been married. She wants to be married. And over time, this is years, probably the last 20 years of her dating life, she would date these different guys and she would talk to them for a week. She'd talk to them for 2 weeks, talk to them for 3 weeks. And we'd be excited for her and she'd be excited. And they seemed to be hitting it off. And he's a nice guy. He's this and he's that. And after 3 weeks of talking to this guy, me and Denise, we would ask her questions about this guy. What is his religious beliefs? What does he do for work? Where was he born and raised? Does he have siblings? I'm talking about the basic stuff, y'all. And then it will be like, I don't know. I don't know if his mom and dad are still together. I don't know if what he does for work. I think he does something with some computers. I don't know where he was raised. I don't know. And we're like, Danica, what do you know? You've been talking to this guy for 3 weeks. Y'all give me 2 days. 2 days to talk to somebody. And y'all can ask me about any basic question. I can answer it for y'all. I can tell y'all how he was raised, who he was raised by. Is his mom and dad still together? Are they still alive? What's his religion? Where he went to school or college? I could tell you who his best friend is. I could tell you because I'm engaging in conversation. You have to know the art of communication. You can't make it seem like you going through a checklist. Okay, where you went to school? You got your college degree? Check. Okay, do you have any children? No children? Okay, check. Do you like sports? Okay, you do? Check. No, you gotta know the art of communication and make it's a conversation. It's back and forth. It's being engaging. You ask questions, you answer questions, you elaborate or expound on his question. You talk about yourself. Okay, number 2. One of the 7 ways how you could pique his interest and keep him coming back. You got to have a depth of conversation beyond social media, celebrity news, keeping up with the Kardashians, and all of that stuff. You got to have some conversation. Believe it or not, contrary to maybe popular belief that we think men are all about sex. No, men are not just all about sex. If it's a man who's not looking for a relationship, he may be all about sex. But a mature man looking for a relationship, he's not all about sex. I believe, do they love sex? Yes. Do women love sex? Yes. But a grown, mature man looking for a grown, mature woman, he's not just all about sex. And so, contrary to us thinking that a man is all about sex, and so we think that conversation is not important. A man, a grown, like I say, I keep reiterating grown, mature men because y'all ain't talking about these grown boys now. Because somebody may disagree and say, these men out here. No, I'm not talking about these grown boys. I'm talking about grown men. So for a grown man loves conversation. Even if he's quiet, even if he is not, it doesn't talk as much as other people, a grown man likes conversation. And you got to be able to engage in conversation. And you got to have something to keep piquing his interest in your conversation beyond. You can't have an 18-year-old conversation. 18, these 18, no, don't get me wrong. Do I know celebrity news? I know some celebrity news. Do I know social media? I know some social media. And there's nothing wrong with intertwining that into the conversation, but that should not be your primary conversation. There is so much more to know and to talk about. And if you don't know, study up on it. Watch, read books, watch the news, explore the internet, Google. But you could talk about religion. You could talk about different philosophies. You can talk about different theories. You could talk about sports. You could talk about travel. You could talk about politics. You could talk about world news. You could talk about current events. You could talk about music. You could talk about fashion. You could talk about hobbies. There is just so much to talk about. And that's how you keep a man engaged. Let's go to number 3, y'all. Don't mention personal wealth or the lack thereof. Not yours or not his. And if he mentioned his, run. Don't look back. Run. Don't look back. Run. If he mentions his personal wealth or he starts quoting to you how much stuff costs. The reason I added this in because that could be a turnoff. It could be a turnoff. I know for me, it's a turnoff. It was a turnoff when men would mention what they had as far as material. It was a real, it's different. A lot of ladies like that because it's like, ooh, he's got this and he's got that and he owns this and owns that. But if a man stepped to me and he anywhere in our first few weeks of conversation mentioned to me about how much things cost and his personal wealth and all of that, or first of all, if he mentioned personal wealth or whatever he had, even if it wasn't wealth, but he thought, he had something, to me, it told me that you lacking in a whole lot of different places. You're lacking somewhere you don't feel confident. You're either lacking in intelligence or you're lacking in your confidence or you're lacking in somewhere down there. It just told me you were lacking somewhere when you had to blow up about your personal wealth. Number 4, be authentic. Be yourself. Laugh. Let your hair down. Don't aim to impress. Do not aim to impress. Does that mean you can't be impressive? Yes, you could be impressive, but don't let that be your main aim to impress. Be uniquely you. I read a testimony of she was a mature lady, older lady, and probably around my age, late 40s. And she said that she spent so much time in her 20s and 30s trying to, how did she put it? She said she spent so much time she was frozen by fear when it came to engaging with men because she wanted to say what pleased them. She was so caught up on saying what pleased them and not saying what displeased them that she was struck by fear. So she came across as demure and coy and shy and quiet when she said she wasn't quiet at all, but she was so worried about saying the right thing and not saying the wrong thing. She wanted to say things that would cause men to like her. So what can I say to make him like me? What can I say to make him want to call me back? What can I say to make him pique his interest rather than just saying what's on your mind and saying what's on your heart and being authentically you. So a lot of times it comes across as you're too shy, or you're too quiet, or you're too demure, or you're a pushover, or you're boring. A lot of times we're not boring. It looks like we're boring. We come across as boring because we don't want to say the wrong thing to make a guy not like us. Number 5, save some of the mystery. This is, I think, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give you. We tell everything there is about ourselves within the first conversation or two. I mean, leaving nothing out. We talk about our upbringing. We talk about our hurt. We talk about our pain. We talk about our challenges. We talk about our triumphs. We talk about who hurt us. We talk about our exes. We talk about we've told everything there is to tell. Now, mind you, men not doing that. But as women, I know we're made differently. God made us different. I totally understand. Now you tell me, you answer me this. If I'm a man and I'm talking to a woman and she tells me everything from birth up until January 14th, 2016, in the first 2 conversations, why am I calling you back for the 3rd conversation? Why am I calling you back for a 4th conversation? Why am I calling you back for a 5th conversation? I know everything there is to know about you. You done told me about everything. It's a nice segue from saving the mystery. Number 6, don't let a man take up all your time on the phone and text. First of all, we're talking about mature dating and mature women. Y'all mature women, don't let these men text y'all to death. Don't let them hide behind text. Have a man talk to you and engage with you. A text is okay if you're at work, he's at work, and it's just a quick text. Hi, how are you? Thinking of you. That's okay. That's very nice. That's sweet. But no, if you're not at work and he's not at work and y'all got some free time, don't let a man text you to death. No, let him have some conversation with you and engage with you. But along those same lines, don't let him just take up hours and hours of your time, especially if he ain't trying to date you. It's different. It's different if you all are exclusive. You're exclusively dating. That's different. Talk all night on the phone if you're not in the same city or whatever. That's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the initial stages of dating, and he wants to talk to you for hours and hours on the phone and text you and don't want to ask you out and don't want to go on dates. That's what I'm talking about. Don't let a man just use all of your free minutes texting and calling you. No, you can't use up all my free minutes. Get off the phone and go out and live your life. He must know that you have a life. You have an abundant life. Number 7 and last. 7, to pique his interest and to keep his interest. Be energy giving and not energy depleting. Say that again. Be energy giving and not energy depleting. How do you deplete one's energy? Well, when you talk on the phone to a guy, and maybe you're talking on the phone, maybe you're texting each other, you're talking on the phone, you're enjoying each other's, company via social media or whatever, and you don't hear from him for 2 days. So by the 3rd day when you hear from him, you deplete the energy by having attitude, asking him what happened to him. Why didn't you call me? Where you been? Why you dropped off the face of the earth? Oh, you couldn't call me, but I saw you Facebooking. You couldn't call me, but I saw you liked so-and-so's picture. Y'all, that's immature stuff. That's why I ain't talking to these children. I'm talking to grown women. So ladies, my grown women, you got to be energy giving, meaning when he hang up that phone, he should be energized. He should be energized. It's like he enjoyed talking to you. He learned something new about you. Perhaps he even learned something new about himself. Maybe he learned something new about the world that he didn't know. He didn't know something about sports that maybe you told him. Maybe he didn't know something about religion or something about the world news or current event. Something you shared with him that when he gets off the phone, he feels alive. He feels like, oh my God, I cannot wait to talk to her tomorrow. Or perhaps I might even need to call her tonight before I lay my head on the pillow. She's the last one that I want to talk to because she is energy giving and she's not energy depleting. So depleting energy is talking about your woes, talking about your, talking about the all maybe the bad that's going on in the world. There's nothing wrong with talking about current events or whatever because we know some bad going on in the world. But I'm saying your whole woe is me attitude. And woe is the world attitude, or men ain't no good, and men don't keep their word, and all of these things. You're depleting the energy. You're sucking the energy out of any potential relationship. So you want to be energy giving. Like I said, when he gets off the phone, he is energized, and all he can think about is, I cannot wait to talk to her again. All right, you guys. Love y'all. Y'all be blessed.